I asked the strongest Juri player in the state of Texas to teach me a little bit about his character. His name's Guile, and this is what he had to say. All right. I got a few things written down that I wanted to ask you because I played her for a few hours today. So there's a few things
Hmm.
that I had some problems with. I'd say first I wanted to start with like her notable normals, right? So pokes. As far as pokes, I was just using stand medium kick, like far stand medium
Sure.
kick.
Red, yeah, the golden, golden. You can never go wrong with that medium kick.
Yeah. And then maybe trying to throw. This hitbox was kind of weird to me. Like I would miss a lot with stand
Right.
heavy kick.
Yeah, that the way to optimally use that move is preferably when it's spaced well.
Hmm.
Let's say, for example, you want to use that in an effective manner to where you don't necessarily get punished for it. So kind of right where you're standing is good off of like let's say you give Ken a hard knockdown, then he wakes up, and then you set up meaty with that same button.
Yeah, like
You
walk
can get
back.
it right and like walk back, like micro walk back, and then heavy, because then either he'll have to block it or he's going to get hit meaty, and you can confirm that
Hmm.
move as well.
Confirm it into like this.
Right, you can, yeah, yep,
Hmm.
that's right, and so it gives you some flexibility there. But that move is, and it's good at a range, at a certain range, if you want to try to build a store, and they're jumping in. But if they don't have like, and I wouldn't recommend doing it against Ken. Um, and I got a habit of doing it sometimes. But if I really need a store, if they're not trying to let me store a charge,
Yeah.
then I'll do that and then store,
Hmm.
because I'll feel like it's essential that I need it for whatever move that, for whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are the best times to use standing heavy.
Stand heavy kick. And
Yeah, but I will say the poke that really goes under the radar is her crouching medium punch. That's
this one.
such a good poke. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
that
saying this earlier to one of my friends. I said it feels like Alex's crouch medium punch, but it's special
hmm
cancelable. Because
right.
Alex's crouch medium punch is really good, but you
It's
can't
really
do
good.
anything off of it. It's just a really good
Right.
poke.
Yep, that's an excellent comparison because it can stop. And I was just talking to this having the same conversation with Cayman and Justica, two other jury players,
Yeah.
and they said the same thing. And it's like, and then the great part about that move is that if you space it well, it is negative, or I mean it's zero on block.
Yeah.
So you can literally use that to try to force your opponent into making a move, so then you can maybe react, or you want to try to pressure them in to do something, or you can use it and then press something afterwards, and it'll be legitimate, because it's -0 on black.
Yeah.
So it's completely even. So that's a really good move that I use. If I don't, you might see me do that, and other jury players do that if they kind of don't know, if if it's like really like a walk down is what I call it,
Mm.
where nobody is really doing anything and you're waiting. You can use that as a good poke tool to try to see if you can force something, because if they react with nothing, then the next time you engage, then now you can maybe get in a dash, or you can throw in her heavy stand, or something like that. That'll I mean, you can start that. Then that's when the mind game starts. So
Yeah.
that one is such
Hmm.
a great poke tool that I would like for a lot of jury players to use more often, because it's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good.
So that kind of brings me into my next question. I was gonna ask what are some good whiff punish buttons because this is what I've been using to whiff punish too.
Yeah, yep. That's a great one. With punish. Now it depends. So depending on what your opponent is doing is kind of what you want to go for. So for example, with Ken,
Hmm.
I like to use crouching medium punch to whiff punish him, and I like to use I like to use sweep
Mm.
to punish uh his moves. And let me tell you why. So he has a standing medium punch that's hard to whiff punish with any. It doesn't even matter. I mean, unless your time is perfect, which a lot
Yeah.
of times it won't be.
Hmm.
you're just gonna miss, and he's gonna be able to punish you for it. So the best thing that I like to use is sweep to punish his standing medium punch.
Stand medium punch. Yeah. Let me
Hmm
take a look at what that looks like real quick.
hmm Yep. Yep. Yeah. See, it's gonna be hard to punish that.
Hmm
If you have heavy Fuha sword and hit it with a light punch, then you can get it. But it's like that's still gonna
Yeah,
be hard.
that's like kind of
Yeah.
situational.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So the best thing you can do is sweep.
Yeah. The spacing's kind of tight though, huh?
Hmm Yeah, but you can get it.
Yeah. That'll be something I
Yeah.
have to practice on my own
Yeah.
time.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. But that's probably going to be your best bet because
Mhm.
then that's going to give you a chance to dash up and and probably start some offense.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm
So crouch medium punch and sweep for certain moves.
Right.
That's something to get used to because like I was comparing it to Seth because a lot of the moves that you
Mm.
use to whiff punish on Seth are crouching,
Yeah.
but on Karen it's mostly like stand medium punch. So that's something to get used to.
Yeah. Stand medium punch. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like some of it really is just matchup, character
Dependent.
matchups
Yeah.
because, like for example, Rashid. Rashid is I like fighting Rashid because Rashid's typically like to throw out his four fears.
hmm
I hate that move with a passion.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
But it can't be dealt with because if he misses, you can get that with almost any button that Juri has and combo in it. You
hmm
can get it with standing heavy punch. You can get it with medium kick. Standing medium kick. You can get it with crouching medium punch. Those are like the three that I like to use on Rashid for example.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the other unique situations, standing light kick is actually it can be a pretty good whiff punish, but it's just harder to confirm, DP
Yeah.
into. Yeah, like DP into. Something that'll take a little practice, but
hmm
it's really good. Or if it's on a counter hit, then you can actually go into crouching medium kick from standing light kick
Oh, if it's a counter hit, you said.
if it's a counter hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So that I think that covers that part.
yeah.
And then what is the best option for checking dashes? I usually use jab on all the characters, but do you ever
hmm
use crouch medium punch at all?
Yeah, depending on who what character it is dashing,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can't go wrong with crouching light punch. You can't go wrong with that. I use crouching light kick so I can get a combo into light punch, crouching light punch.
Oh, okay, okay,
Hmm
okay.
And but it depends, so it'll vary. So like for quicker characters, I use that combination, those two. And unless I can really see it, unless I just know that they're gonna dash because they might be getting impatient or anxious, I'll use crouch and medium kick. But um um like for example, like slower characters like Geef
Mm-hmm.
or Abigail, I'm using medium because I can get a combo started off of that if I have my medium Fuha stored.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll use standing medium kick um, a lot of times, or even heavy, depending on what they're trying to do. So because their dash is so readable, it's ridiculous. So you
Mm-hmm.
have all the time in the world to use some of
Check
the
that.
heavier buttons. Hmm
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
probably my most important question is when do you store? Like what do you look for when you're storing?
Yes. That's a great question because that's where a lot of the discovery I had to go through um, came. And so this is a great question again, is because this is what makes Jury hard to play right here,
Yeah.
is knowing when to store. So you have and the short answer is there's multiple scenarios where you want to store it.
Yeah.
but but ideally the best thing to do, and I'll tell you this from experience, and I usually do this to test the other players' reactions, like if I'm playing in a ranked match, but if it's like a really serious like offline tournament, I'm not gonna do that.
Hmm.
I won't do this, and I won't recommend any other Juri player do it. But right at the beginning of the match, don't store. Just walk.
Hmm.
Just walk, because you want to see what your opponent is doing. Because the what I've came to the conclusion of here as of late, that Juri honestly is a very good defensive player, and she or character, and she can fight anybody because of her toolkit.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
think I think Infiltration showed that pretty well. Like he plays that
yeah.
character at the highest level fairly
Hmm.
well, like very well.
Yeah. Hmm. Yep. Yep. So and the thing that infiltration does, he utilizes all of her strengths to his advantage, like mobility.
Hmm.
So she has great mobility. Her dashes are really good, especially if she's in V trigger one. So if you need to get away to get out of pressure or whatever, yeah, backdash or whatnot, you can throw off your opponent with what you're trying of when you want to store. That's one thing to keep in mind.
Hmm.
But typically, like for the higher level players know not to let Juri store. So you're most likely going to get mauled. And every time that you try to walk back or dash back, they're gonna dash after you to try to stop you from storing.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is to play. You're forced into really play neutral, and
Hmm.
even though you're forced into play neutral, it's actually a great thing. And unless it's somebody like Vega, but even then you don't have a choice, because I mean he also has great neutral. But play neutral, because she
Hmm.
has standing medium kick, is one of the best normals in the game. So you can't go wrong there. So and block, stand medium kick, block, and look for whiff punish opportunities. Become very defensive, so that way, if you can engage the opponent in that aspect, then you might can backdash twice, and because they won't expect you because you've been playing neutral. You
Yeah.
see,
So
so
so essentially you don't want to die for your stores. Like
exactly,
okay.
exactly. Yep. Even though it's like, because I know a lot of players look at the damage,
Hmm.
right? Like, that the characters can do, but you know, when Jury is stored up, she becomes one of the best characters in the game.
Yeah.
And that's because she can do her, when she has her Fuha stored. Now, nothing is except for, well, I should say, her Fuha, even close, is safe.
Hmm.
It's
It's
safe.
-2, right, on block?
Right, it is -2, but you're able to, you won't get punished for it. Now, her medium Fuha that's negative,
Yeah,
and
-6, right? 6.
yeah, it's like 5 or 6, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And her heavy, I forgot what her heavy is, but I mean it's terrible. You'll be punished for it. So the string that she can use to make herself safe, let's say, because I see a lot of jewelry players make this mistake, is if they have everything stored, they will do medium fuha. They'll do the medium fuha. And and they might be, in the heat of the moment, which is understandable. But you always want to make sure you have um all of them stored, because if you go medium fuha to heavy fuha to light fuha, that's how you keep yourself from being punished.
Hmm.
So you always want to end, no matter what, in a light fuha, in that order. So and it's still negative if you do medium fuha into light, because they can still punish before the fireball comes out.
Oh,
They
there's
can
a
still
gap
punish that.
there?
Yeah, there's a gap there.
Okay.
So you'll still be unsafe. So if you ever go in first with medium fuha, then you always want to go to heavy fuha, then to light fuha, to make yourself safe on block.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way, and then you kind of start the process all over again. But granted, you don't want to have to do that, because that's her deal. But
Hmm.
again, you're okay, because it's just better just to take the throw and then try to get back out to that medium
Yeah.
kick range and then start it all over again.
Hmm.
I mean, I would have saved myself so much time if I would have known that at the beginning.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
end in a fireball.
to end in the
Because
fireball.
if you, I mean, that's your punishment for not confirming this, but you can sort of
Right.
make it less. You don't have to
Yeah.
take such big
Yeah.
damage.
You don't have to take any damage at all, and
Hmm.
it's like, I've killed myself
Hmm. Yeah,
so many times.
it's like cheat.
Um,
It's like a cheat death. Like you,
yeah,
you should die
exactly.
here, but you won't.
Exactly, but you won't, and that's one of the godlike things. So when I realized that, I was like, wow, I never thought about it,
Hmm.
you know, it, it, utilizing it like that. So if I, have an input error or something, and sometimes that happens, and I start off with me, and I get somehow randomly get medium, full high, and I do that, and then. And sometimes I'm lucky enough to hit them, which
Hmm.
I shouldn't, but I do. And most of the time, they're blocking it, and I'll be like, okay, I'm glad I got into the habit of getting all of my fuha stored,
Hmm.
um, and ending with that fireball, so that way to make sure I don't lose life. So, um, what was I going to say? It was something else. Oh, and never, if let's say you get you do a DP, you do a heavy DP because you anti-air, you can do one. I would just recommend doing one store on something,
Oh,
and then
like if the DP hits, you're saying, right?
right, yeah, if it hits,
Oops.
I would just do one. If you have nothing stored, I would just do one.
Yeah.
Or if you need to, I would never do two in a row because you can easily be punished for it,
Hmm.
and it would hurt a lot. So, um, and you kind of said it earlier, so don't die for stores,
Hmm.
so that's kind of a staple. So but remember, I would just remember the best thing, or the thing you want to look for to establish first is the neutral. So you don't
Hmm.
look to do a massive damage. You don't look to store first, unless you can read the situation, because Juri is, again, in my opinion, she's like a very, uh because of her unique tool set, like she's a very defensive character,
Hmm.
and she's also reactionary. So you can be prepared for anything because she has the tools, but it's knowing where to use them at.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing. So yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, because
that's
cause usually the way I like to learn this kind of stuff is just have like rules of thumb. So that's what I was looking for. It's like
mm,
so I'd say just play neutral first and then worry about the stores when you can get them.
right. Yep, don't force it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the because I was one of those guys.
Yeah, that's what's been happening to me is like I'll triple backdash store and then they'll forward dash 3 times and they'll just be in my face. I'd be like, well, I lost half the stage for
You lost half the screen. You
yeah.
lost positioning. Now you gotta fight for your life out of the corner.
Hmm. And to follow that up, I would say, what do you think is the most important store to have? Like, if I can only take one store, let's say I'm empty, and that DP hits, like you said, what are you storing? Are you storing Fireball so that the other two can be safe when you do get them, or do
Right.
you usually have a heavy?
Right. So here's the thing with that. And again, I didn't learn this until later, until I started going through matchups. It really depends on the matchup.
Mm,
So again, so for somebody like, let's say a Shoto like him,
yeah.
um, I would like to have medium stored, and the reason why I would like to have medium stored against them is because, one, we talked about whiff punishing and neutral.
Yeah.
So that way I can get ready to go into a combo. Like if they do a, I don't know, like crouching, if they like to crouch medium punch a lot, well then I'm going to use stand heavy punch
Hmm.
to see if I can catch it and then confirm with right into medium fuha, and
Oh, I
that
didn't
way I
even know
can
that
get.
combo.
Oh yes, sir. And then you go. Oh, it's lovely. Now we're viable, right?
Yeah.
Because we have that
Yeah.
one. We have that one move stored. So now we can look for that. We can play neutral, and we can try to get, maybe we can get, dudes, medium kick, and if they throw out like a light, Ken standing light kick,
Hmm.
and you catch it with the first hit of the medium kick, now that's cancelable. So now you can cancel that in and get that damage that you
Hmm.
need. So against the Shotos, I like to do um medium fuha. I like to store medium fuha. Now if it's somebody who doesn't have fireballs and that a lot of um lower ranked juries struggle with, let's say Balrog, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you know which one
Yeah.
I like to have. I like to have my fireball ready because there's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing Balrog can do. Anything you think of, he can't do it, and
Yeah,
it's
to get
beautiful.
around it, right? Because he
He
can't
can't.
turn punch through it.
No, he can't. And so what you do is to keep him from turning through it. You follow it. You follow it
Like that.
because most Balrogs, even at the Warlord level, don't like dealing with Juri's Fuha
Hmm.
fireball. They hate it.
Yeah, they're not used to having to hold a fireball like that. They could just
Ex-
spin through it usually.
Look, the thing with Juri is that no one likes to hold it with her fireball unless it's maybe another Juri player, or maybe then Fongs don't. They really hate Juri. Even
Hmm.
though he has a dash, he can dash through it, but he's dashing straight to you when that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
So, who else? Now Ibuki can get around it. Ibuki
Hmm.
can get around it. So you don't want to use it, and if she has meter because she is going to get through it. But only if she has meter. If she doesn't have meter, store that first. Um, Let me see who else. Bison hates it.
Yeah.
That's one of that became one. I used to hate that matchup, but that became one of my favorites because it's fun to fight Bison, and he hates it. Because and the reason why he hates it is because he has his V skill 1, where he'll try to absorb it
Hmm.
and throw it back at you, right? Well, the thing about doing that is if he does do that once, you can kind of make a mental note of that, and then later down in the fight, if you get it again, throw it again, and if he tries to do it again, follow it and then jump because he's going to store it. He's not going to be ready for your jump in nine
Yeah.
times out of ten. So now you get a free combo
Hmm.
because he's so worried about your fireball. So um, against Blanca, I would probably go with Light again, even though he can get over it with ball. But Juri can punish his ball. So
Yeah. What is the punish for a ball?
it's flip kick.
Oh,
Top
okay.
two.
So it's just a.
Hmm. Yeah, you can. It's always going to be medium top two. And now with Blanca's EX ball, you can't punish that one, but
Mhm.
that's the only one you can't
Yeah.
punish. But
So
you can
this will
punish it.
punish all three of them besides
That'll
EX.
punish. That'll punish all three. All of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good to
Unless
know.
he does I believe if he does the heavy ball, you get to walk into a combo on that one because that's the one where he's close. He ends up close after he hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you can punish all of them. Yeah. So Blancos hate Jury. Who else hates Jury? Recently, I mean, Vega's still a hard. Vega's still one of the Jury's toughest matchups because he can stop Jury from storing. So
Hmm.
that one is just tough. But she can still hang with him in neutral, withstand medium kick. That's all you need
Yeah.
in that one. But you want to store. So because of that, you want to store a medium kick with Vega because he's going to be walking you down, and then if he messes up, you're gonna hit him with the first hit of the medium kick, and then you'll be able to cancel into medium full hop. And
So okay.
yeah,
So you said characters that don't have a fireball. Sorry, I missed that part a little bit. But you
yeah,
said when they don't have a fireball, you usually store medium too, as well as the Shotos, right?
hmm
Okay.
yeah, yeah. When they have fireball, but granted, it depends. Like if it's Chun, for instance, because
Yeah.
that's probably another one of Jury's like really hard matchups. Um, you will want to store Fireball because Fireball in the Chun matchup can keep Chun in check. You go because then you'll be able to whether it be to gain neutral space back or maybe to backdash and store again or charge or whatever you want to do. that's going to be your thing that kind of keeps Chun in check. I mean, the only time you don't want to throw that is if she has a full super, and because she can super right through the fireball.
Yeah.
So that would be the only thing with her. Um, but other than that, let me see. Poison. I'm pretty sure we all hate that matchup. Poison,
Hmm. Yeah, I don't like that
fireball.
matchup on any character that I play.
Yeah, yeah. That's just it sucks. Fireball with poison.
Hmm.
So you go for the light store. But granted, the thing about poison, the way you play poison, and it's kind of like this with Juri, that might help. It's not a if all be all answer, but it certainly does help if you implement it at certain points. But her standing heavy kick is a nuisance to poison.
Mm.
No, not the fierce punch, the fierce kick.
Oh yeah, sorry. They're all kicks, so I get
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, so that move right there, because we know what poisons like to do, they're gonna crouch whip you to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
so go over it.
so that move, yeah, goes directly over that. And the best part about it is she can't punish you if you get the distance right. There's nothing she can do. She has to take a risk.
Hmm.
Because you could just spam it just like that on block. Oh, they hate it.
Yeah.
They hate it. Dawson doesn't like it because he'll start keying in on it, which will allow you to jump in.
Hmm. Yeah.
So characters that play at a range that you think might have a advantage, like those two, for example, yeah, that you want to use moves like that because they don't have to play neutral,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They
So
have
why should you?
bypass tools.
Exactly. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna get as close as possible. Then we're gonna spam heavy medium or heavy kick.
Yeah.
And then we'll do that so we can get closer or until we force them to do something.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what you do with that. So because they won't allow you to store, period.
Yeah.
So you'll have to kind of play kind of a rush down style with them or be really or kind of semi aggressive to be able to maybe get your stores um at a close range to where you're safe, and then you just play defense. But you're already close now, so that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah. Uh, I think that was it. I had one question that said, "What is your plan in neutral usually?" But I think we kind of covered it through
Mm,
everything else. I think we pretty much covered it. I wrote a
yeah.
note that said, not giving up space for stores, because that's what I was doing. I
Mm,
was trying to figure out a
yeah.
balance and not give up too much space for stores. But I think you answered it by saying just focus on playing neutral
Just
rather than
yes.
trying to
Oh my
store.
God. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it. Oh my God. So, and the thing that's probably that you're probably going to end up working on the most is really character matchups because you won't be able to optimize everything entirely until you learn the matchup. Like, and knowing this as a jury player, I mean, yeah, it helps. It's kind of a rule of thumb for every character, but some characters, as we know, unfortunately, are more privileged,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
than others. So for even as godlike as Cammy is, like Cammy has to know it to some degree because she won't be able to play everybody the same way in a rush down type because everything is plus or whatever. But she
Hmm.
can't do that with everybody. But especially for Jury, because she has such a unique tool set, you kind of have to play it by character and have kind of a base game plan for a character, and you're kind of forced to especially if you want to win.
Hmm.
So, with like lately, because I know a lot of Jury players hate the V skill too. Like, I mean, yeah, it's not great, but I must defend it a little bit because again, if you play a bad matchup like Vega, now Chun you might be interchangeable between V Trigger 1 and V Trigger 2, but if you play really somebody like Vega,
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, and maybe even Birdie as well. Yeah, no, then they don't care anything about what you're doing. Yeah, they'll probably try to stop you from storing, and they have the tools to get it done.
Yeah.
So, and then along with that, if they still have meter and then you still have no store, or if they have meter and you have no store still, then it's going to make that matchup that much harder. So that's where I use V Trigger too, because I can not only build my own meter, because they're going to be trying to maul me from storing.
Hmm.
So, but I can take away their meter, and it can really work out in my favor and make the match a little bit closer. So it's just it's weird with Juri because a, she has to play different against different characters a different way in a different and prioritize different things to be able to be more effective.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. If I would have known that from the jump, that would have helped out a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
a whole lot.
yeah, and I think. Oh, one last thing. What
Yeah.
when you get into V Trigger one,
Hmm.
usually I'm just fishing for normals to chain into each other.
Right.
Is that usually what you're doing too? Are you fishing for like far medium kick and a stand heavy kick?
Yeah. Again, it depends on the character.
Yeah.
And yes. So it'll be yes or no. So for example, if I'm playing Vega, right, because he
Hmm.
he has he can out
Range
he
you.
exactly. So I'm going to be fishing with medium kick still,
Hmm.
for example. Um, but if normally what you would want to do is because now we go back to Whiff Punishing,
Hmm.
right? So because we understand that if we do a whole series of moves, our V trigger will deplete before we know it.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to optimize that. If we don't get a hit and don't confirm it, that's going to be perfect because now we still got V trigger and we're still a threat.
Yeah.
So you really want when you think about V trigger, Juri's V trigger, don't think rushdown. Think, okay, now I got super speed and everything is cancelable.
Hmm.
Now I'm a threat. So now I'm going to take my time and I'm going to poke you to death. Um, and in some cases you can use it as I know some because it's situational, right? So we know when she goes in the V trigger one, I believe she gets 3 or 4 times she can throw light fuha. And if you're in a yeah 3 times.
Yeah.
So if you're in a situation to where you need fireball to build pressure, maybe it's to get like a game ending hit, then that's a good time to use that.
Yeah.
Kind of that method, or if it's like somebody like Balrog, because you can really get Balrogs uncomfortable because there's a block stream that Balrog can't get around that some other characters can.
Hmm.
Uh, it's and so when you're in and you don't even need V trigger to pull it off, but if you do got V trigger, it just helps. But she if you have a light Fuha stored and then you press medium kick into light Fuha and do medium kick again. Some people can punish that. Like he can punish it because obviously he has a DP
Yeah.
because it's not a real block string.
Hmm.
But Balrog, unless he has super, right? That's the only way he can punish it.
Yeah. So this seems like a bad matchup for Balrog, at least to some extent.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It wasn't too long ago. It might have been like a couple of weeks ago or so, but I played Nightmare Effect
Hmm.
in the first to 10,
Yeah.
and even though he had 9, I still pulled it out with 10. And he already knows it. Like Juri wins the Balrog matchup. It's simply because she has Fireball.
Yeah.
So it all just depends on how it's played. But yeah, so there's certain strings that Juri can do against certain characters that enable her to kind of keep attacking. Because there's some characters like and we won't harp on it too much, like Bison. that can just keep his opponents in the corner. He can just keep them there.
Yeah.
But in certain situations against certain characters, Juri can do the same, but it has to be done in a different manner. So we understand that. You know, I think her light jab is plus 2 on block. I can't remember. It's like plus 2 on block. You know, and her crouch and light punch. So those are kind of her poke tools to create pressure. Light punches, and then crouch and medium punch to create pressure. Those are kind of the poke moves, and then of course medium kick. I mean that's always, you always want to throw that in there because you can.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of the poke tools to kind of help keep your your opponent kind of at bay, and to also keep pressure. You know, while that is, you can you poke and then you wait, you poke, you wait. So it's that kind of game
Yeah.
with
It's like,
Juri. Mm-hmm.
mhm. All right.
So
Well, I think that's it. I think that's all the questions I had.